Hi, Daddy Doula. It's Katrina Stone here to help you. Through COVID-19, we know that birthing is a different experience, and you're not able to have someone else being there to support your lady through this. So you and her are going through this together. Okay, you don't have that triangle piece that I love. Normally, there would be the birthing person, the birthing partner, and then some kind of birthing coach. But this time we're taking that birthing coach person out. So we really just have a line, and we've got your birthing person and you. Okay, so this is where you're really coming into play. We already talked about doing things at home and we went through the distraction list. So make sure that you really resonate with that. Maybe, soak it in a bit more. Write down which ones you think she'd like more than the others. Okay? But today, we're going to talk about being a daddy doula at the hospital. So, when you enter the hospital, right now, everybody's being screened for COVID. So it's good to kind of keep that in mind. When you go into the doors, you're going to see someone there, probably fully masked, gloved. They're probably going to ask you, okay, have you traveled? Do you know anyone with COVID? Have you been having any symptoms? And they're going to likely take your temperature, do all the whole 9 yards, okay? So don't be nervous about this. Just comply. And if there's any reason for concern, if you do have a fever or a cough or anything like that, worst case scenario, they're going to make you put a mask on and gloves. That's pretty much about it. Okay, so we know that we're going to be triaged. Okay, so when you enter the hospital, you get up to the labor and delivery floor, then they actually go and take you guys into their triage room. Okay, so here is where they're probably going to put the monitor on. And you can say no to that if it's something that you guys don't want. And then they're probably going to do a vaginal exam. This is also something you guys can say no to. However, this is kind of how they understand if they should admit you or not, just to see how far the cervix has dilated. That gives them a somewhat of a gauge to know where you're at in the stream of labor. Okay, so after they do that, probably going to just have you sit there for a while with the monitor on, see how baby's doing. They're going to check your blood pressure, see how those things are going. If you've dilated or if your partner has dilated to a good amount, then they will admit you. And during COVID, we are getting updates every single day. Things are changing rapidly. So just go in with an open mind and remember that things may not be the way that they were described to you, and they might not be what you expect. So just keep that in mind and keep an open mind during all of this. Okay, so that's the triage experience. Then you're going to be rolled over into the labor and delivery room, most likely. Sometimes they'll give you the option to go back home. So if you are not dilated to a certain percentage or a certain dilation, they might say, you have a while to this, baby's coming. Would you like to stay in the hospital or would you like to go back home? Sometimes they'll just tell you to go back home if they don't have enough room in the hospital, but likely they give you the option. So in this case, your best choice would be what's most comfortable for you guys. So listen to your partner, see what she thinks. There can be a lot of fear surrounding the hospital, but there can also be a lot of fear surrounding going back home. So just discuss it and make sure that you're communicating with your partner really well. Okay, so after you've been admitted, then that's when you really want to keep that birth plan in mind. So discussing it with your partner. You don't have to have a plan. Plans do not work. Plans don't always go to plan. So maybe what I like to call it is a birth map. You know what the outcome is that you want. Put an X on that. X marks the spot. You want to make it to a healthy mama and a healthy baby and a healthy partner, right? So we know that that is the area. We know that that is where we want to go. So creating those pathways to get to that in the way that you want is what your birth plan is going to be, okay? So try to remember exactly what you guys want. Something that I would love to do in the future is offer people shirts that have pictures of what their plan is, saying yes to what they want and no to what they don't want. Just so that it's easy, it's clear, and the caregivers can see it right when you're standing there. So, trying to keep in mind exactly what you guys had in plan, and remembering that you can talk to the staff. So something I want to mention is the brain method. So if you spell out the word brain, BRAIN, this is going to help you. B for benefits, R for risks, A for alternatives, I for intuition, and N stands for now, not now, or never. So this brain method is what you want to use if you need to talk to the hospital staff, which you will need to. So if they're conversing with you and they're saying that they want to steer away from your plan, that's okay. They're doing their best to give you the best outcome, but it might not be the way that you want it. So openly discussing the benefits, the risks, the alternatives, you're feeling your intuition, and then taking a moment to say, let's just take 5 minutes. So not now. Is this an emergency? No, I have a choice. So I'm going to take 5 minutes and then we'll rediscuss. And openly do this with your partner, okay? She's ultimately the one that's feeling it. She's going to be the one to kind of make those decisions, but you have a part in discussing it with her and reminding her what kind of plan she was aiming for, and also not being so stuck to the plan so that you guys can discuss if there is something that's kind of emergent. She doesn't need to freak out. Keep her calm and, just working best with the situation. So you'll do really good with that if you keep the brain method in mind, okay? I'm going to put a little remember down here that explains the brain method, okay? So check that out and make sure you write everything down so you can remember. Even if you put it on your wrist, the brain method is so, so helpful. Okay, so comfort measures. We're just going to run through this quickly. The best ones for partners to do is the double hip squeeze and a nice shoulder massage. You can do all kinds of massages and really helping her to change position often. Those are really great comfort measures. However, with partners, the ones that I find work best are the hip squeeze and the shoulder massage. So let me show you this right now. It's going to be a little bit difficult for me to show you just because I don't have somebody else to do it on, but I'm going to show you as best I can on myself. Okay, so she's going to likely be leaning on something and you're going to be behind her. What you want to do is take your hands down by her hips, right onto her bum, and you want to squeeze in her hips. Now, obviously, I'm not able to do this in the right position because my hands are not facing the right direction, but this is going to alleviate so much back pain, especially if she has back labor. So really communicate with her to find out if she's having back pain. So you want to have your hands nice here on the back and squeezing them together. So what this does, I know that might not have been the most helpful, but what this is going to do and what you need to kind of imagine and picture is when you're squeezing in, the front of her pelvis is going to be opening up, and it's also going to be doing a little bit of counter pressure to help with her back pain. Okay, so that's really good. Okay, so the second one is the shoulder massage. And all you need to do is comfort her. And if she would like to, this is really great to do on the birth ball. So she can kind of be bouncing during a contraction or moving her hips or swiveling or whatever she feels comfortable doing. And then all you're going to do is take your thumbs and drag them down her shoulders and drag and push. Drag them down shoulders, drag, and push. And then if she likes that rhythm, you can continue that. Or you know what? Just getting in there and doing a normal, regular massage that you might have done previously is great too. She'll be relaxed with this. Okay, so just communication, listening to what she likes and what she doesn't like. Okay, so another thing that's huge, huge, huge when you're a doula is maintaining endurance during this marathon that you're running through labor. Um, the whole labor process, contractions and all, can take a really long time, especially if it's your first baby. So just learning how to endure everything is really important. So I'm going to tell you how to do this, okay? So this is for you, and then we're going to talk a little bit about mommy too. Okay, so for you, what you need to do is make sure that you're wearing proper shoes because you're going to be on your feet a lot and possibly for hours on end. But you also need to remember to take a break and sit down and breathe it out too. Water. Water, 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 hydrate, 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 okay? It's important that you're going to the bathroom as well, but you don't want to leave the room to do this. You want to stay in your delivery room if that's at all possible, which usually it is. Okay, so hydrate and make sure you're wearing good shoes. Another thing is maybe packing something that has caffeine in it or a protein bar or something to that effect. Something that might boost your energy a little bit more because you're going to be awake. And unfortunately, a lot of the time, babies like to come during the night. So staying awake that entire time might be difficult. So just make sure that you're maintaining your endurance as best you can. Another thing is that when you're doing the double hip squeeze that we just talked about, you want to make sure that you are not straining your back and you're not straining your knees. Okay, so you can do this position standing, on your knees, all of that, any way that's comfortable. But often what I like to do if you're on your knees is lunge. So you'll put one leg out beside her and then you lean in to help her, keeping your back as straight as possible. It's hard, but it's going to save your back so much. And remember that the hospital does have blankets and pillows and that sort of thing. So maybe if you are ending up on the floor, which I know is kind of ew because the hospital is a little bit, not the place you want to be on the floor. But if that's the case and that's the only position she's comfortable in, ask them for an extra blanket or an extra pillow. These things get washed, so don't worry about it. Okay, also another great way if you're wanting to do the double hip squeeze and not strain yourself is having her lean on the bed. Okay, so she would just be using her upper body to lean forward and be standing beside the bed. That way you can give a good squeeze, and either you can do a squat or you can even sit on a chair, which is so much better. And then just anytime that your back is aching, make sure you take a moment, sit up straight, and get ready for the next contraction because she's probably going to need you to do this several times. Okay, so if you all of a sudden are getting a lot of pain, make sure that you maybe suggest moving on to a different position without even telling her that you're in pain. If she knows you're in pain, her pain will either become worse or she'll get irritated. And it's okay to communicate that you are in pain if she's not able to change position, but you can't do it any longer. Communicate that with her, but also know that when you suggest different positions for her without mentioning your pain, sometimes that can be even more successful than talking about your own pain, okay? And I know that sounds so evil to say, but it's so true, and she's facing a lot of pain, but Daddy Doula, you're probably going to experience some type of body aches during this experience, and your feet will probably hurt. Okay, so just those are some really important things to keep your endurance up. And I hope that this is helping you guys. Next time we're going to talk about postpartum, which is after your baby's born, and some things that we can do then. Okay, so if you have questions, please message me. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on Instagram at Katrina Stone Doula Services. Okay, I hope this helps. If you have questions, let me know. I'm here to help. Thank you so much for watching. Enjoy. See ya.